Thank you, gentlemen. This is rumor control. Here are the facts.
Okay, welcome to another shining edition of, I should call this the Reignite stream. Something I want to do for my midweek shows. I have my partner, my heterosexual life partner, my business partner, Joseph Marron. You have to roll the R. I'm going to just do a quick catch up and talk about Reignite, and we're going to do a Q&A. We've done a Q&A in a long time. Been fun. We're here in Las Vegas, Nevada. In case you guys didn't know, we were in Las Vegas. Lost Wages, Nevada. Every time you say lost wages, it makes me think of like you're just getting off the plane in LDO. All right, good enough. Hey, what's going on, brother? How are you, Joe?
Man, good.
Joseph. You know, Joe, I don't think I've ever introduced you properly. Okay, what's your background, and why do you have an F-18 fighter jet on the back of your background there?
That's my
Mm-hmm. Super Hornet. Oh, hang on 1 second. It's gonna echo. Hang on 1 second. Let me pull the echo out. All right, now you're good. Hit it.
Okay. So that's actually that's an F-18C. It's not a Super Hornet. It's a Legacy Hornet. Mm-hmm. And so I flew with the Marines out of Miramar, and I flew with VMFA 121 all weather, and then I flew with VMFA 232, and then I flew with the Aggressor VMFT 401 out of Yuma, Arizona.
Mm-hmm. So you've been doing that. How long were you in the Marines?
20 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I retired from the Marine Corps.
Right on. Cool. And now, and you have been, just for everybody's frame of reference, you've been divorced once, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I met you through MOA, through Mike Sartain's Men of Action. How long have you, are you still a member? I don't even know.
I'm technically a member, yes.
No, you're still a member.
Yeah, it's an awesome program.
Right. Because,
2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes, I just want everybody to get an idea like who you are, because I like people like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Because you've been.
I'll just give you a little more background. So I went through a pretty nasty divorce that took about 4 years to do, and so I went and had a lot of coaches. I probably had 6 or 7 different men's coaches coaching, and then I helped with a men's coaching group called Man on Fire with David Mailer, which is an awesome organization too, and. Basically, and then obviously reading your books and hanging out with you, just learning more and more about what it is to be a mature masculine man and to operate within the world in that way. Yeah.
Cool. Very good. That's good, because that's kind of segues into what we're going to talk about today. So you've been a part of MOA, you're part of Men on Fire. Is that the other one?
Mm-hmm. And then Brian Bacon, I've been working with Brian for about 6 years, 5 or 6 years now also.
Is that where you met him?
No. I just saw Brian has a lot of YouTube videos. So I saw him on YouTube and just liked the way he spoke, what he was about, going deeper into the relationships and things like that. So, so that's that's some of my biggest practice. And he introduced me to letting go and the Lester Levins and stuff too, which is awesome. So that's part of what we use in Reignite for guys to get with their emotions and keep their emotions under control so they don't go out of it.
Yeah. So I've got oddly enough, when you sent me the outline for today's show, you did the outline for today's show. Thank you for doing that. Say, take the heat off of me for once. But no, I was going over it, and then I reminded me of a couple of Sterling Cooper videos that have been going on. They've been making the rounds on Instagram too. Yes. And God bless Sterling Cooper. You say whatever you want to about him. He's always been a really close personal friend of mine. He was actually part of the original Rule Zero crew. So just in case everybody want to know how far back I go with Sterling. But he was doing a bunch of quick hit like reels, Instagram reels, and probably some YouTube shorts too, I would imagine, that were based off of like, I guess they're rebuttals to the Manosphere, Inside the Manosphere by Louis Theroux, the latest documentary, and just kind of going over some of the I don't know, points of contention, I guess, that are the most common. Now, granted, the documentary itself it's a parody, it's a character, it's a cartoon, right? You're not really that's not really the manosphere, right? And so I think a lot of groups like our own, like Reignite, certainly Men of Action. I would imagine other guys groups as well, like because I know that Rich Cooper has a group. I know what's his name, Moff, who was on the show on Access Vegas out in and he used to be part of Rich Cooper's group, but I think he's kind of like hived off from him now. They've got everybody's got a men's, everyone has a men's group, right? So to some, I don't know, to some degree anyways. Even Orion Hairband has something going on right now. I like to think ours is a little bit more demographic niche oriented. We have a certain specific, mission statement. I think with ours, I don't think anybody else is really doing. And I think that was the thing that sort of brought us together was like seeing men of, let's see, you want to say 45 to 65 because we kind of backed that up to like 35 to 65 recently because people get saying, well, I'm 35, can't join the 45. I'm like, come on. Right. It's like there's no age. It's not like you have to be this old to get on the ride or something like that. But one of the things that's been going on, I'm going to ask you a really quick question here, is like one of the things that's been going on, one of the common critiques I see of men's groups right now is like they get lumped into the manosphere, which they're part of, and I'm proud to say I am part of the manosphere. And there's no separating Rollo Tomassi from the red pill. I'm never going to be red pill adjacent. I am the freaking red pill. I don't pivot. I don't get to pivot. But and so that means like I have to take it on the chin when it comes around, and I gotta, I earn my victory lap and I earn my stripes when it happens, right? So, but honestly, the sort of for lack of a better term, the moral panic that's been going on about masculinity and the manosphere, and these guys just go and take money and They've got all these programs, and what are they doing? There's this presumption, and I've seen this coming from the mouths of more than a few people who should actually know better, talking about how the manosphere in general, the parody of the manosphere, like the extreme ends of the manosphere, is essentially selling guys on this hopelessness. But then if you take their course or you join their war room or you join whatever, then suddenly we'll help you out. And I've been really critical of guys who said this before. Long before the Manosphere documentary came out, I even got myself into some trouble with a few tweets once or twice, where I was seeing this pattern with these guys who would go, "No one's coming to save you," right? That was we hear that in all kinds of different iterations from guys who are then saying, "Well, no one's coming to save you, but join my group and we'll save you." Well, what is it, man? And so I've thrown that out there. It's what's called marketeering, or marketeering. It's basically creating a problem for which you have the only solution to. Right? And so therefore, you need Pepsi-Cola. Oh, but I happen to be Pepsi, so I'm going to sell you Pepsi, right? It's the same kind of marketing revenue model. And I understand how it can get really blown out of proportion, but the fact of the matter is, the real truth of the matter is that guys need help, right? So when you were coming out of your divorce, and when you were sort of just, I'm not going to say blindsided, because I don't think it was really blindsided, but like when you had to go through the divorce machine, and then you had to reassess what you were and who you were, and you started looking for answers. Like, can you tell me what the process was? Like when that happened, like now you're divorced, you're free and clear. Like what made you go and look for Men of Action or for Men on Fire? What was the process?
Well, the divorce took so long. So what happened as the divorce was happening, that I was looking for things, and I thought it was going to be an easy divorce. I thought it was going to be, because we went to mediation at first, and it looked like we were just going to mediate. It's going to be done in 6 months. And then she fired her lawyer and then took me to court. And then it dragged on for another 3 years, basically 3.5 years. And during that time, there was just so much going on. And so I was with the lawyer, with the money, with the lawyer, with the things that she was saying about me in the court papers, and how she was alienating my kids against me. I mean, there was so much stuff going on inside of me that I had to figure out how to handle it. And so I turned to men's coaches to help me out with that. The first one I went to was Ty Van Bodie, and he's all about breath work and getting with what's going on inside of you. And that just really helped calm my nervous system a lot in the whole situation. But, you know, as things kept going, I just kept looking for more and looking for more and looking for more. So, you know, all the men's coaches that I worked with did a great job, but they kind of focused on kind of one aspect or another. You know, like the Man on Fire is more about just having a deep relationship with whatever woman you're with. And, you know, Brian Bajan in Man of Action is more about just dating, whereas Brian's more about getting, being really grounded, solid, centered in your interactions with people in general, but women in particular. And then Man of Action is more about being able to build a social circle around you. So each one of these coaches that I went to like focused on a different aspect of the masculinity, and then how do you relate to yourself and to other people. And so that's where I'm coming. That's what I'm trying to bring into here is just kind of my experiences working with all those coaches and then doing the work that they had me do basically. And then obviously I'm marrying that up with your intersectional dynamics philosophies and praxeologies. And we're trying to build it so it like hit where the rubber hits the road for us older guys. Cause I don't mind going to a nightclub. I'll admit that. I like going to nightclubs, but you know, most guys don't. And I mean, I don't want to go hang out at a nightclub. I'll go there every now and then, but I don't want to hang out there. So we're using some of Michael Sartain's stuff with Men of Action to build a social circle, but more of a network of people around you in your community. So one of the things we do is we help you network within your community, but not going to a nightclub for it, but like businessmen in your area, local establishments in your area, get to know people that just live around you, so you have a much more fulfilled life. And then when you're bringing women into that, instead of going and looking and chasing for women.
Yeah. I feel you. I think it's interesting because it's almost it's a reflection of the way I saw what the manosphere developed into over the years, right? Because I can remember being on the forum years when I was on So Suave, and I was a forum moderator on So Suave, and really a lot of the essays that I put onto the Rational Mail, the first Rational Mail blog, which by the way is still up. You can still get it now. But a lot of those essays were the products of like 10 years, 12 years of conversations back and forth with guys about what they were experiencing. Some of them were like more, pickup artisty. They wanted to, go out there and see what worked, right? Like the alt fast seduction forums, the Venusian art forums from Mystery RSD with Owen Cook and the rest. I don't want to say Tyler Durden because that was his old moniker, but now he's okay with Owen Cook. So, those were the pickup artist days, and that was like sort of like, how do I get girls, right? How do I get laid? How do I, don't care, got laid, right? And then I saw the evolution of the pickup artist space sort of develop into more of like the red pill space, which is where I kind of came in, because I was more interested in like the mechanics and the psychology behind why is this working? Like this shouldn't work. Everything I've been told, like you're supposed to treat her right, and you're supposed to carry your books home from school, and be her friend first, and all this. And I'm like, but these guys are like showing, like provably showing that if you experiment, you go against the grain. Really, this is what makes you successful, right? And so from that point, I got really interested in evolutionary psychology. I already have a background in behavioral psychology, academically speaking, but then I just developed a real fascination with all things sort of like intersectional dynamics at that point. But it did get started from guys wanting to just go out in the clubs, which is what Mike still does today. Like there are still people that do this. And then, running, well, I guess like Mystery would call it a boot camp. Mike would call it immersive. Like, I don't know what the hell we would call it. Just like a meetup, get together and do your thing. But I think it's funny because you got guys that are real. I mean, even as far back as the mid 2000s, we had guys who just wanted to either compare notes, or they wanted to say, hey, guys, things aren't the way. I'm starting to see the code in the matrix here, right? I'm starting to see that things aren't exactly the way that I've been told that they ought to be. Now, some guys will go through a divorce and they'll have their quote unquote red pill moment. I hate it when people ask me that too. It's like, what was your red pill moment, bro? Like it has to be some sort of like a crisis point, or and usually it is. And unfortunately, guys have to come to it at a point of trauma, and usually it's a bad breakup with a girlfriend, it's a divorce, it could be any number of things. Like maybe they came back from being deployed or something like that, and they come back and they're like, oh my god, everybody's different. But at some point you have to make this realization that the things that that you thought would work aren't actually working. And I think that's where the blue pill, red pill allegory, metaphor comes in. And I think we get a little kind of lost in the sauce when we start like focusing on red pill, blue pill from the quote unquote matrix, right? It's really just what was the most apt metaphor that we were talking about at the time. Remember, it's like, was it the Matrix came out in like 1998, and like all these guys started talking about red pill stuff right around 2002. so it's kind of, it was a natural progression at that time. But the thing is like, I think there has to be some sort of like some point of trauma where guys go, what I thought should work, or the old rule set, or the old book of rules that I was taught through my parents, through the church, through popular music, through social influences, whatever, is not actually what I'm seeing, as being something productive, right? Like being sort of this blue pill, sort of simpy kind of like, wear your emotions on your sleeve kind of guy is not the path to romantic success, right? And I think that making that transition is something that guys have to figure out, right? I'm going to play this really quick because this will sort of sum up. I'm going to play it's like a 1 minute video from Sterling Cooper. This was in his response to the Louis Theroux Inside the Manosphere critiques, right? And everybody, and just recently, I just did this on Sunday, actually. It was Iggy Azalea was talking to Neon, of all people, and was talking about like how she just couldn't understand why it was that men needed to be educated in any way to be alpha males, right? That's not what it is. It's like guys just want to learn skills. They want to know, it was a mystery used to say, you will only get what you've gotten if you keep doing what you've done. So guys are like trying to figure out how to do something different so they get something different, right? And the skills that we use are, some people will say, oh, you're a natural, whatever. There's no such thing as a natural. That's one thing I need to clarify right now. There's no such thing as a natural. There are guys that are ahead of you in the game. They might have got a head start because they're good looking or because of their social position, their status, whatever. But they still have to learn the same things that you or I or anybody else does. And so that's what that was the main critique that Sterling was talking about, because a lot of people will say, well, I can't believe these guys actually pay for these courses to go and learn how to be a man. Well, this is what he had to say. Let me see if I can put it in there.
Why would a man need to learn how to pick up women? Let me ask the ladies out there something. When you had a kid, did you buy any books on how to parent? When you gave birth, did you take any prenatal classes? Why would any woman need to learn how to give birth and raise a child? Now that's an absurd statement I just made, but women somehow expect men to just know this stuff, but won't ever apply that same logic to themselves. The truth is that charisma is a learnable skill. Prowess is a learnable skill. Entrepreneurship is a learnable skill. Building your physique is a learnable skill. Ironically, all of these men that you're labeling as woman-hating misogynists are actually learning this stuff so that they can be more attractive to you, so they don't give you the ick.
Right. So that's what's funny. What gets me is like I 100% agree. But I think that there's this, so I won't say stigma, I guess, but I think there's this sort of misunderstanding, certainly on the part of let's just say blue pill, more beta male guys who want to have something bad to say about the manosphere, but that also women, like I think women also think that guys are born with those, charming skills, right? That they're born with an ability to know how to successfully attract a woman and how a success, what it is that they can do. And the fact of the matter is they are learnable skills. And I think that one of the reasons why we have courses like this right now, and you're Gen X just like me, right? So one of the reasons we have, and this is multi-generational, so this isn't just millennials or Zoomers or whatever, or Gen Alpha, whatever the fuck they're calling it next. It's not just for the future generations. It's like this has been going on for a long time. And one of the things that you and I noticed when we first started this group was that when guys come out of like a divorce and they've been married for 25 some odd years, and they're thrown back into this, the sexual marketplace, the global sexual marketplace right now, they're like stranger in strange land, right? They've just been released from prison after, 10, 25 years, and they don't know, they need a reintegration program. They need somebody to help them sort of navigate like Instagram and just, in Mike's case, right? It's Instagram and it's like how to get in the clubs and stuff like that. For us, it's like, maybe it's like how to control your emotions, how to like, cause you're feeling a lot of shit at that time. Or else it's like me being more pragmatic about it. Like trying to say, okay, here's the biochemistry. This is why you feel the way you do. These are the intersexual dynamics and sort of spell it out. I've had so many guys hit me up and in the past, for really since 2013, since the first book published, the Rational Male published, I've had so many guys come up to me that would say, Rollo, I've always known about the kind of stuff that, like the stuff that you're saying. Like I've always felt like that might kind of be true, like that, like what you're, the dynamics you go over in this book. But I never could put it into words. I could never articulate it. And I kept hearing this over and over again. And of course it's flattering to say, oh, well, gee, I'm the person who can articulate it. Awesome. But the other thing is that it's so common that I get that same response from guys. I'm like, so guys kind of know on an instinctive level, they just can't put it into words. And I was trying to kind of hone in on that, like the idea of like the sort of having that instinct, but they don't know how to leverage it, or they get depressed, or they get into this sort of nihilism, or they isolate. I think one of the worst things guys can do when they are zeroed out, for lack of a better term, they come back out of a nasty divorce, or they have a death in the family, or they lose a business or something like that. I think the worst possible outcome of that is guys would isolate. Guys want to just like crawl back in their shell, but guys will excuse it by saying, I'm going monk mode. No, you're not. You're actually isolating. You just simply just want to retreat.
Right.
And instead of getting back on the horse and learning new skills. Well, guess what? Those are learnable skills. And yes, you can actually learn them from somebody else. That's why I was asking you before, like when you made the split from your wife, like was there a moment where you go, you know what I've been doing before is not really working, and I need to find somebody, or I got to educate myself somehow. So because what I was doing before, you only get what you've got if you keep doing what you've done. I don't want to keep doing what I've done. How do I find out how to do something different? Like how can I change who I am? And can I even change who I am? Was there a point where you decided that you were just going to say, look, I'm going to go online. I'm going to go find Men of Action, or did you?
Yeah, no, there was. I mean, it was gradual, because as the divorce progressed to its different phases, mm-hmm. I was pushed more and more and more out from the family, mm-hmm. and so I did isolate. So the family, I got cut off from the family, and they lived 40 minutes away from me, and so I was alone at that time. And as things progressed, I felt like, hey, I even said to myself, I'm going to do more in the next year than I have in the last 5 years. And at that point, basically that was the moment that it was like, okay, I'm going to figure out what's out there available for me to help me figure out what's going on. And when you talk about it being a learned skill and there's not a natural, I think guys that have grown up in environments where they're just being more social, they're the ones that are ahead of other guys who have been in environments where they've like been an only child, or they haven't played sports, or they haven't gone out, and just haven't interacted at a younger age with a whole bunch of other people. And so as you get older, the best time to ever to be is in college, because you're surrounded with beautiful women all the time. They're available. So after that, and as you know, as we get older, the ability to build lasting relationships and friendships gets tougher and tougher, because everybody gets into their own silo. And so you have to make a concerted effort to go out and to be more and more social and meet more and more people, or you're just not going to do it, especially these days with everything that the internet provides to us and social media provides to us. It makes it even tougher and easier to just slip into your comfort zone and just be like, okay, I'm cool. I'm at home. I'll just chill out the rest of the night. But yeah, so that was it. It was just like realizing that, hey, I'm basically cut off from my family. And so I'm just isolated, and I'm just sick and tired of it. Another funny Friday night at home by myself. So it's like, I'm not doing that anymore.
How did you actually find MOA? Did you like go looking for it? I'm always curious.
Yeah, just like everything else, YouTube basically. It was just, scrolling YouTube and it showed up on my feed, and I like what Michael said. I agreed with everything he was saying. So that's why I joined.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that gets me is like, especially when I listen to these sons of bitches like criticizing, like they got the most ridiculous people they could possibly get for with the exception, I like Justin Waller, don't get me wrong, I like Myron Gaines as well. Sneeko and HS Tiki Taki on the documentary is just ridiculous to have them on there. But the premise is always this, is like these guys these nameless guys, not just the guys that are on the actual documentary, but these guys are all gurus, and they all say these same things, and they all have these same men's groups, and then so they basically, it's like churn marketing or funnel marketing. It's like that's the number one thing I've tried to avoid from day one is like being anybody's religious guru or I don't want the Church of Tomassianism or something like that. In fact, I've said that from the beginning. That's one of the reasons I keep coming back to the praxeology thing, is because it's like, too many people want to turn it into a belief set. Too many people want to turn it into something of an ideology or some sort of religion, right? And the fact of the matter is that what I offer, and I think what you by proxy, certainly being in the same group, is that we're going to help you with the skills that we can on an individual by person need, by basis needs, right? So it's not about a 12-point or 12-step program. It's not 12 rules for life. It's not 7 steps to a better, marriage or whatever like that. It's just tools, and it's equipment, and it's education, and it's actionable information, right? It's up to the individual to take action. They have to go and figure out how they're going to do it. Whether that's taking action, maybe in your case was, hey, I want to go to Zook tonight. I want to go to Hakkasan or something like that. That's taking action. You're putting the education and the information that you get from this space, and you put it into action and in your way, the way that you think would play to your strengths, right? And so I think this is just something that is just lost on just the lay person who just comes into this, and they get all completely, turned off to it, and which kills me, because there's so many people such as yourself. Like imagine you had seen like you're at the point, your lowest point, your children have cut you off, you're out of the family or whatever, you're spending another night, by yourself, whatever, and you're isolating, and you're looking for answers, and you're trying to figure out how to sort of like change, make some sort of personal changes. But you came across this Louis Theroux manosphere thing, and you go, well, that doesn't look like anything I want to get involved with, right? And so therefore you blow off Mike Sartain, you blow off me, you blow off everybody else that could have helped you get, well, actually would have been the product of as a result of that help, but that you get to be the author of your own self-help in your own destination. But the fact that we've got so many people trying to turn people off from that is really kind of concerning to me, because it's always based on this sort of, quote unquote grift. That leads me to the second video I want to show real quick. And I see Steve's in there. I'll put Steve on. Okay. So I'm going to add this real quick.
So benevolent. If they're trying to help men, why do they charge money? They're a bunch of grifters. We pay doctors, and they're saving someone's life. Would you expect someone doing something even more benevolent to do it for free? How about someone doing something less benevolent, like your mechanic? Is he a grifter? People pay for information in every aspect of their lives. People pay to have their problems solved. Some even pay significant amounts for totally useless university degrees. Am I saying there are no bad faith actors in this space of the internet? No, definitely not, because I know for a fact that there are. But there are far more guys in this space saving men's lives and improving every aspect of their life. And they didn't make this hit piece mockumentary because they're too reasonable to portray as the bad guy.
There you go. I just want to throw that out there, because that gets down to the pay for it kind of thing. Like, why would you pay for this should be free? Even times I've had people go, Rollo, I'm going to turn your book into they turn your book into a PDF, and we're going to freely disseminate it through, like Pirate Bay or something like that. And it's just if you're an author, you're going to deal with piracy no matter what. I get it. But what's the most flattering thing is that you want to do it in the first place. I mean, you're shafting me out of money, but like I've had people tell me like they've read my book on like a pirated or downloaded like a PDF, and then they'll end up going and buy my book because they felt so bad that they didn't. So I guess in some ways it kind of comes back around again, but the fact of the matter is like, it's just like anything else. It's just like, buying a course. If you want to learn a new skill, if you want to learn something, you can go to a community college and pay for that course, right? And again, the onus of education is on the student themselves. So, for instance, I've used this analogy before. It's like I play golf, right? And when I didn't play golf, I needed to get a golf pro to teach me how to improve how to actually have a swing at all. And so whenever we go to Top Golf, that's the result of it. Right? And I paid this dude. I paid him $40 a lesson every time I went and did it. And I did it for about 3 months. And I thought, okay, if I have improved, I'll keep going, right? 3 months, I got a fucking great swing, man. I can play golf, and I can go play with all the guys that I was, the only reason I wanted to learn to play golf in the first place was so I could hang out with the people who I was working with in the wine and spirits industry, because that's where all the business decisions were made, right? So I'm spending $160 a month, something like that, to learn how to play golf and to improve my swing. And guess what? After 3 months, I definitely saw the results, and I kept going, right? How is that any different than joining Men of Action or joining Reignite or joining whatever group, right? The fact is that if you want to learn new skills, sometimes you're going to have to pay for unless you know somebody, unless your brother happens to do the thing you want to do, right? And you get the family and friends discount. But that's, we got to keep the lights on. We got to keep things going as well. So I think we're well worth the investment, considering where people were and where they are now. And I think we have a good we have a good backfield of guys right now who we've helped over the years, because we're coming up on 2 years now. I think you and I are coming up on 2 years now. But anyways, I'm going to bring Steve O on in just a second, but I do want to get to this nice super chat right here. Thank you very much for all of that. Yeah. About the mantra of the strong and independent woman, Sigmund Freud in chapter 33 of Introduction to Psychoanalysis states that strength and independence are literally what the female character lacks of. The chapter 33 is as red pill as TR on the rational male. Thank you very much. People have asked me over the years, like, what do you think of Freud? I said, I think Freud is a lot. People hate Freud. They hate it. You know why they hate him? They don't hate him for the stuff he did. Got wrong. They hate him for the shit he got right. And I honestly, I think that Freud is probably sort of an underappreciated genius, because then of course, Carl Jung comes along, and the feminists love Carl Jung. So yeah, I 100% agree. Let's get Steve-O in here. Steve.
Hey, what's going on?
Nice shirt, bro.
I know. Well,
okay, that is not a Reignite shirt. That is my Roughneck shirt. I
had to support you. So yeah.
So what do you got to say, Steve-O?
I just wanted to say that any of the guys that are listening and thinking about joining the group, that it's very beneficial. I researched all the other groups, Richard Cooper's group. I believe Robert Glover, he has a group. Michael Sartain, he has a group. And, at that time, what y'all were starting up and doing was more beneficial to what I was going through. It really kind of helped me a lot who, being ex-military, I was always looking for a band of brothers. And so when you're being kicked back out into the world, you look for that band of brothers that's kind of going through the same thing. And, you want to get help. You can't really do it by yourself. I mean, you could, but it's not really beneficial,
Good. Yeah. What was it that made you, I mean, I know, but I'm just going to ask anyways. What was it that made you look for a group? What was it? Maybe I should phrase the question differently. What happened in your life that prompted you to go look for some education, some new way to live your life, to learn new skills, to I know whether it's money, muscles, game, whatever, health, wealth, relationships, whatever the individual need was. What was the catalyst that you said, because we don't advertise. I don't have the red pill really doesn't advertise. We don't have billboards to say, hey, join the red pill. Rollo's Roughnecks, come on out. Yeah, maybe that's not the shirt for this one, but no. What was it that you said? You know what? Things aren't the way that I think they are, and I need to find some way to figure this out.
Well, I grew up in a Leave It to Beaver type household. My dad was a doctor and a colonel in the army, and my mom was a stay-at-home mother. She didn't work, and it was like I was seeing that transition of how I was brought up. Hey, you open the door for your your girlfriend, your wife. You help around the house. You do things to make her life better. You have a good job, and you try to take care of the household. And I was seeing that the more I was doing that, I seemed to irritate her more because I did that. I mean, who gets yelled at because you open the car door and you're standing in the wrong spot? I mean, that was me, you know. And I had been looking at, some pornography because I noticed 6 months after I had gotten married that, all of a sudden I'm tired. I don't feel like being intimate with you. There was excuses that I started noticing. It was always, well, we'll wait till tomorrow. Or if you really want hot sex in the bedroom, you got to do more outside the bedroom. Give me more roses, do more things around the house. It was almost like chore play. And, I told her, I said, I'm not a little dog jumping through hoops to get rewarded. And when the goal is extended out even further. So we had gotten involved with going to church. I live in the Bible Belt of the United States, basically in the South. We had started going to church. I was like, okay, I'm going to rededicate my life. I'm going to get baptized. I did. We started getting involved with church. And, the next thing I noticed was we're still having that problem of intimacy, and I'm like, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. When she comes home, I've already done the dishes. I've already vacuumed. I mean, I've done all the things to try to make it where her day is more relaxed. And it just seemed to irritate her even more. And I couldn't figure that out. And one day I asked her, I was like, look, we're sitting together and we're reading the Bible and we're going to church together. But there's still a problem with intimacy. You're not wanting to be intimate. And it's not like I was doing all this stuff just to become intimate with her, but that was something that was totally being kind of pulled away from me in a marriage, because I was like, something's just not right. Something's not, it's not going the way I want it to. And when I said something to her about it, and she said, well, it's not me. It's you. You're the problem. And I'm like, well, I'm doing everything I can to try to solve the problem. And yet the problem is still persisting. Well, you need to do more. And I was like, but I do more and you become colder and you yell at me more. So I really didn't start having marital problems until I started standing up for myself. I admit it was partly my fault because I did not establish a boundary. There was disrespect that was going on that I was allowing. And when I started reading your books and really listening to your podcast, it was like it's kind of like a bright light going off, and it was like this isn't the traditional way, and this is just my perception. In the South, in churches, they want to teach the men to be more passive and nonviolent. So if I were to say something to you and you hit me in the face, I'm supposed to say, oh, dear brother, I'm so sorry. What did I do wrong? And that doesn't get it. And most of the men in the churches are giving all the praise to their wives. Well, I wouldn't be this way if it wasn't for my wife. My wife, I'm nothing without her. And then you see them constantly not being able to make household decisions. And so the roles, in my opinion, these days, the roles are being reversed. men have become more passive, and men and women are taking more of the lead because the men are not stepping up. That's just my personal opinion.
I think it's interesting because I've been getting into, you probably have seen me because you follow me on Twitter as well, but I've seen a lot of these guys talking about how to fix your sexless marriage, right? And they didn't like what I had to say because I'm like, if a woman can go 6 months, she can go 6 years, right? And it's like, what is it not better to pull the Band-Aid off really quickly, like really slowly? And they're like, well, if you put in the work and you do all that stuff, like you were just saying there, Steve, is like, if you just keep doing this, like it's like it's like you got this checklist, right? Like you got this dry erase board and you got to put like little gold stars on there so you can get to some pussy, right? And the thing that gets me is like, I understand the intent. I'm not saying these guys aren't doing this with good intent. They are, but it's like, okay, just put in the work. If you did more work, if you got in shape, if you did this, if you did that, if you made $100,000 more a year, if you did this, well, those kinds of things. I'm like, yeah, well, that's good. And I have suggested the same thing in the past, especially in like my book, Positive Masculinity. There's a whole section in Positive Masculinity and Reignite, in the book Reignite as well, about, most of the guys who are married, who have come to see me either in this group or privately, have always said, Rollo, I'm not trying to go pick up hot chicks at Hakkasan on a Saturday night. I just got to figure out how to get my wife to fuck me again, right? And they don't want to spin plates. They don't want to like date non-exclusively. They're not worried about notch count or anything like that. They just want to actually have sex again after 2, 5, 6, 8 years. And that might be another reason why guys seek out group. You don't have to be single to be part of Reignite. You don't have to be single to be, just to be into, understanding intersexual dynamics, right? In fact, I would say the majority of guys that come to me aren't trying to come to become a player or a pickup artist. Like people that, they're just going to go to those guys so they can learn how to fuck random girls. I'm like, no, most of the guys that come to me are like, they're the 40-year-old virgin. They're the guys who are they're like 27 and they've never had a date in their life, right? Or they're like, we keep seeing these study after study about how young men between the ages of 18 and 29 don't want to or are afraid to approach women, or have never approached a woman, have never had a girlfriend, have never had sex, have never, and the list goes on. And they'll say, well, it must be a generational thing. And yeah, they're probably right about that, but it's also a societal thing that's going on too. And they just don't have the skill. They never learned those skills to put them at a somewhat of an advantage. But the very fact that like anybody would want to put men at an advantage in that situation makes them manipulators, right? And the long and the short of it is it's not just about guys who want to become players. It's guys who want to improve their marriage. It's guys who want to actually get a girlfriend. Their intent is to get a girlfriend. Heck, I've got Christian guys who are like 18, 19 to 22 years old going to church camp, but they don't know how to approach women. They don't know how to talk to women or anything like that, because it's not, that's not what they do in the church, right? And so it's I honestly, I think a lot of this whole thing about the crisis of masculinity really reflects on groups like Reignite. It really reflects on MOA, and the fact that we're actually doing something about it rather than talking about it and raising awareness. But Steve, thanks for your input, man. I much appreciated, brother. See, can you hear me? Oh, he can't hear me. Oh, he's got it. There he is. Okay, I see him. I'm going to take him out right now. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Start answering some of these questions.
Yeah, I think so. We'll get to those right now. Okay. Cool. Let me do these. I got some really good ones that aren't even like super chats, but let's go through the supers first. Why do women gift their soon-to-be ex-boyfriend pricey, memorable, or meaningful gifts just before they break up with them? Did you have any input on this, Dr. Marron?
I would say probably because they're already moved on and they're trying to make it a little cushion the blow, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think so too. It's also, God, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this. Those are anchors. That's what that is. That's an anchor. So that at some point, like it's one of those. I think women do that women. They're not. First of all, they're not doing it for your benefit. They're doing it for the woman's benefit. The girl who's giving it to you, it's for her benefit to do that, because she wants to be able to she wants to be able to have like I said, an anchor at some point. It's kind of like I brought this up on Sunday. Remember in Friends when Rachel and Ross were together and they say, well, you know what, we're going to date, but if we're both single, let's make an agreement. If we're both single at 30, we're going to get married, right? And once we've explored our options, and if we're both single at 30, then we'll get married, right? Which is just, as I keep saying, Friends was a horror show. It wasn't a comedy. It was actually a horror movie. Because if you look at it with a red pill lens, it's pretty fucked up. It's red pill fuckery with like a laugh track to it. But no, it's the same thing though. It's like, okay, now we're 30, or if at some point in the future that woman says, you know what, maybe I want to go check out that guy again, right? Or hey, do you still have the teddy bear I gave you? Whatever it is. Those tend to be anchors. They're kind of tchotchkes that become anchors. Let's see. Rollo, you said a few times that mental point of origin is a thought process, and I accomplished that. However, it felt wrong when I did. How to change this feeling? Okay, like anything else, it hasn't become second nature to you. That's why. It's I usually, whenever I get this question, I usually launch into my diatribe about conceit, right? When I was writing this book, the very first book, Rational Mail, available on Amazon. When I was writing this first book, I didn't know if I was like authentic enough. I didn't know I could be an author, right? Who the fuck would read a book from me, right? It was imposter syndrome. I talk about imposter syndrome quite a bit in Reignite, the 6th book right now. But I couch that in terms of like guys who want to like change their lives, or they want to become somebody new, but they can't really like say, well, is this really me? It's like, I'm an imposter. I'm pretending to be this. And so that's what I had to do, is I had to get over myself. Am I pretending to be an author, or am I going to own it and I'm going to really be an author? And that's why I said you have to have, especially if you're creative, you have to have some sense of conceit. Like you got to be egotistical enough to say, yes, somebody wants to read my shit, and then, you publish it and people want to read your shit. And now you're an author just because you said that you're an author. So a lot of the times it's like mental point of origin. If you're going to change, clearly you're asking me about the section that's in the new book. Mental point of origin is a lot like the movie Inception. Okay. So the inception point is like down to the original idea. And if you know anything about Inception, the movie, it's like they're going through like the different dream layers all the way down to wherever the germ of the idea was, the very bottom. Now think about that in terms of your identity. What is the very first thing you think of when you're faced with a decision, or when you're faced with it might not be a decision. It might be just, I want to go left or I want to go right. It comes down to really free will is what it comes down to. But, what's the first thing that jumps into your head? Who's the first person that come to your mind? Like, what is your initial inception point of where you're going to go and how you're going to take action? And my argument is that most guys are taught from a very early age, from like 5 years old on, to put everyone else before them. It's to be selfless, like to be a servant leader, right? To be I don't say a slave so much, although that's what some guys end up as, but to sort of gaslight yourself into thinking that you need to put others before yourself. Rich Cooper said this before. He said that, we teach our boys to do the right thing. And we teach girls to do what's right for you, girl. Right? That statement right there is a good illustration of mental point of origin. So you got to remember that when you're trying to sort of change your second natures, change the way you think about things, first of all, it takes time, and it takes you having the conceit, for lack of a better term, to say, yes, I am going to put myself first, because I know that the decisions that I make are going to be the best for me. And if they're the best for me, then they're going to be the best for other people who are attached to me along the way, whoever's dependent upon me, whoever I meet in the future, whatever else. I'm going to make this decision to do this. I'm going to benefit from it. I do. Guess what? You benefit from it in an ancillary way, because I made the best decision for myself. Most guys won't do that. In fact, a lot of people in general don't do that. This is just like a human thing, I should say. It's the difference between hypo-agency and hyper-agency. So hyper-agency means I happen to the world. I affect my will upon the world. Hypo-agency is the world happens to me. I'm a victim. I couldn't help it. So, I'm a victim of circumstance. Shit happens, right? It's like, or it's or it's like attachment styles. It's because mommy didn't love me enough. No, you're just being hypo agent. You have to have the balls to say, I'm going to affect my will upon the world. And when you can get past that, then you'll get past sort of the imposter syndrome of mental point of origin.
I've got a little something to add to that too.
Okay.
Some of this is also, you just trying to. We talked about this on the call yesterday. Having awareness as how you're showing up, and so the first thing would be looking at how you're trying to please people to get validation for yourself, and then going into mental point of origin is, hey, I have to be assertive. I have to assert myself and start building that muscle so that as I'm executing the middle point of origin, I'm using assertiveness to bring that about. And then you can vary the amount of assertiveness you're putting out there based upon where you are in that moment in your development.
Yeah. So like people ask me about the Inception thing. That's the reason why I use Inception is because it's an easy illustration. If you haven't gone and watched that movie in a while, it's a pretty good movie. But the way I look at it is what's called a cognitive stack, right? Like, so there's at the point of exception, it should be you ultimately should be your ultimate, the first thing that jumps into your mind, like even subconsciously when you're faced with a decision, right? But layered on top of that is your cognitive stack. So what usually happens is guys end up being the fourth or the fifth thing that they think about when they're faced with the decision. So it's usually family or wife or girlfriend or potential girlfriend or mom or whatever. And then on top of that, it's job. And then on top of that, it's something else. And then they might be the next one that's like the fourth or the fifth in that cognitive stack. So they're thinking about all these other things that will that decision will affect all of those things rather than themselves being the first one that it affects, right? That's what I mean by mental point of origin. I have to be really clear about that because too many people mix that up with the Tony Robbins, you put yourself first. Like, okay, but this is what I'm really talking about. It's more of like a psychological thing than anything else. But that's a good question. Thank you for that. My family is trying to plug me back in. Of course they are. Almost getting into fistfights. Nice. My dad is blue pill, listens to women. I've ghosted many toxic family and they're upset with that too. They always talk over me. Of course they do. They want you to be predictable. That's why. I don't think a lot. Have you heard me say this before, Joe? It was like, whenever you sort of take the red pill, for lack of a better term, right? Whenever you sort of decide to make a positive change for yourself, you're becoming somebody else, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons why I came up with the 5 stages of unplugging, which are analogous to the 5 stages of grief, right? Because in the 5 stages of grief, what are you doing? You're trying to get over accepting death, right? Mortality. Right? Well, the reason why I cast it like that is because when you leave your old way of thinking, your old order way of thinking, your blue pill way of thinking, you're essentially like killing off the old you. And so what happens is you have to go through those stages of grief for the guy that used to be you, because now you're something else. And the good news is this, is that once you get to the other side, once you cross what I call the abyss, once you get to the red pill way of thinking, for lack of a better term, like the red pill awareness, you're in a much better place. You have much more opportunities. You are working from an accurate as certainly more accurate than you had before, an accurate, database, and you can make better, more accurate decisions for yourself. And so what happens is when you become something different, that's when your friends and your family will go, you're trying to be something you're not. And the answer to that is, it should always be, you're goddamn right. I'm trying to be something I'm not. I'm trying to be somebody different. Because that old guy, he was not getting laid. He was not getting paid. He was not getting anything, right? That the guy that I used to be, I don't like that guy. I want to be somebody different, right? Well, what happens is, especially in family want you to be predictable. So when people like it's the crab in the barrel analogy, the crab never gets to the top of the barrel because there's always another crab to pull him back down into the barrel, right? Well, the crab that's pulling you back into the barrel is your dad or your brother or your friends, or whoever wants to get in a fist fight with you, because back in the barrel is your old personality. That's where you were. That's who you are. And people want you to be that way because they need you to be that way. They need you to, they want you to think that you can't change, because if you're predictable, then they have ways to, to deal with you, the predictable version of you. So when people make changes, that's the first thing they say, well, you're a poser. And this, again, it's that imposter syndrome kind of thing. But you're not. You're actually becoming somebody different. And I talk about that in the sixth book as well. In Reignite is, in fact, from the very introduction, the whole book is based on this premise: is to become somebody new by the time you're at the end of the book, right? I've decided that what I've been doing, you only get what you've got if you keep doing what you've done. So what I've been doing for the last, half of my life, or my lifetime, hasn't been working for me. And I want to find out if there's a better way to live, if there's a new way to live, if there's a different way of thinking that's going to benefit me, and I can finally, live life on my terms, or at least make decisions that are going to benefit me. Because all I've been doing up till now has been just, service for others, being an indentured servant to your wife, being a servant to your community, being a servant to other, and that's like all you're doing is like living out somebody else's dreams. Right? And as far as I'm concerned, there's no way to live. But it's like the thing is you still have to find a way to go from the old you to something that's new. And you're always going to have pushback, and you're always going to have people who are going to resist that, because they want you to stay the old you, because they're familiar with that guy and they know what to expect. Do you have anything to say, Joe?
Yeah, well, that's what we work on with the guys is seeing who you are and what part of you didn't choose to be, and then transforming that into being the person you choose to be.
Yeah. Becoming somebody else. I think that's, quite honestly, I think that's the most exciting part of Reignite or MOA or any group that you're joining. It's like, essentially, that's why they're joining. That's what gets me, is like when these guys are like, oh, I can't believe these guys, these gurus are charging, these, like Rob Henderson is really pissing me off these days, because he jumps all into this, like hook, line, and sinker, right? It's just like, well, these guys are just, they have these programs. And like, well, what do you like? What would be good for you, Rob? You say that you want guys to man up. You want guys to be better. You want guys to take charge. You want them to lead in the family. You want them to be more. You got this man up, positive masculinity kind of build up that you want these guys to be, right? But you got to break some fucking eggs, Rob. You got to, if you want to make an omelet, you got to break some fucking eggs, right? And what gets me is like they want to say that's and I can't speak for HS Tiki. I don't even know if he has a HS Tiki Taki. I don't even know if he has a men's group. Sneeko most definitely does not have a men's group. I mean, maybe Jay Waller does, but I'm not familiar with it. But the fact of the matter is, it's like the biggest hypocrisy isn't the Manosphere movie. It's the fact that you're trying to push guys and in the UK, young men, but or young boys, even like between the ages of 12 and like 14, to be more feminized. Is how you're literally, your government is spending money on a program to teach boys how to act. How is that any different than MOA, or how is that any different? It's just the principle of it, and it's just like, who's it benefiting is what it really comes down to. You're still spending money. The UK government allocated 20 million British pounds to the UK school systems for what? Basically a men's program or future men's program. And it's coming out, and the taxpayers are paying for it, not the individual person is paying for it. So it's the same damn thing. And they want this. They want this better guy. They want this new dude they want a new kind of guy. They want a guy that like women are going to approach in the bars or whatever, and that they're going to like. They're going to be attracted to that guy. But that doesn't happen just by like, putting on some deodorant and taking a shower and just walking down to the local bar, man. And so to teach guys, it's like I said, it's kind of hypocrisy for these guys to claim that they want we want men to improve for the sake of women, of course, but they want men to improve, but not the way these guys are doing it, not the way Reignite's doing it, not the way Men of Action's doing it, not the way RSD is doing it, right? They want it on their terms, and that's it's the same impetus. It's just a different program. What's this one? My girlfriend makes over $700,000 and wow, and had just had our baby. I don't want marriage. How best to navigate? Well, brother, if she's having your baby, you're going to see her for the rest of your life. So how do you want to deal? Like, I mean, let's look at the logistics of this whole thing. That's a, after I kill. Did you see that one, Joe? Did you see that one? It was I think it was a reel or something, or maybe a YouTube short that Owen Cook put out.
I don't think so.
No, he was saying, if you break, like, because he was talking to guys who are going through a bad breakup, right?
Yeah.
Girlfriend or something like that, or whatever. It's like, if you didn't have a kid with that girl, you should be thanking your lucky stars.
Right.
Like, it could never be as bad. Like, you could break up. I don't care how bad the breakup is. I don't care how lonely you are or how emotionally distraught you are over this whole thing. If you didn't have a kid with her, like, just thank the Lord above, because you're not going to be attached to that person for the rest of your life. Right. So I think that probably the best thing to do is just assess whether or not you're going to, like, how involved a father you're going to be at this point. I mean, that's the best to navigate. I guess maybe like sort of envision, right? What kind of father do you want to be in the future, with this person? Clearly you put a baby in her. She makes $700,000. I don't know why $700,000 is pertinent, but does she want marriage? I didn't think you even included that in there.
Yeah, there's a bunch more questions that need to be answered to really give you a great answer for that.
Tell you what, join us on the Zoom call and we'll tell you why. It's better. I love it when you get like super chats and they're like, give me like this really super vague problem. And I'm like, I need like so much more context involved.
Yeah, for sure.
I got this one. Sorry if you've already answered this in the past, Rollo, but why did you have only one child? I'm genuinely curious. I thought about it. I have one daughter, and it was by design, quite honestly. I think my wife and I got to a point, I think it was like about 3 years later, we're like, we better either decide we're going to have a kid or we're not going to have a kid. And, we prayed about it. We talked about it. And I think she, at one point, she actually, my wife ended up talking to her grandmother, and she says, you should probably just only have one. And I think grandma was the deciding factor, honestly. But I probably wouldn't be the same person had I had two kids. I can tell you that right now, because one kid was enough for me. And I mean, responsibility wise. And when I know how many do you have? You have two kids? You have two daughters?
A boy and two girls. Yeah.
I can only speak from my experience in that I was of the mind that I would rather put all of my energy, time, and effort and investment into one child than multiple kids, which is probably stupid, and selfish, but yes. And then people were telling me, oh, it's so selfish not to have a second child or a third or a fourth, right? They would say, if you have two, you might as well have 10.
I wouldn't quite go that far. Three's good, I guess. People say, well, that's so selfish. And I'm like, yeah, it is. I kind of have to be too. I would rather be selfish and provide the best I can for the one daughter that I have than to not. And as I said before, I probably wouldn't be doing this right now had that not been the decision I made. I mean, it's a series of decisions, but I love my daughter dearly. I'm glad I did. I think we made a pretty damn good kid. So, and it's still a good kid. I saw her last night, as a matter of fact, at House of Blues, because her husband is the singer in my band and a singer in his band. And we got to go see him play at the House of Blues last night. So I think she did pretty well. She married well. He's a chip off the old block. So, but here's the other thing: is my brother my brother has a son and a daughter, so I have a niece and a nephew too. So as far as genetic legacy is concerned, I put all my effort into my nephew, who I love dearly as well. So, yeah. What did you have? Were they all planned? Every last one? None of them were planned.
None of them were planned. Zero of the three were planned.
It was all over the place. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
yes.
they're awesome kids, but yeah.
No, we set out to have kids, and we knew we wanted a kid, and we tried to have a kid, and we got it on the first shot too. So that was even better. Gosh, I could probably do a full podcast about that at some point, having a kid. Maybe I will. Maybe like when my daughter finally she's pregnant, I'm going to have a grandson or daughter or something like that. I might do a show that's just dedicated to what I was thinking when I was having a kid. These are some good ones here real quick. Does the Manosphere have a map or something like that? No, that's not what the Manosphere is for. Remember, the Manosphere is just this collection. It's an aggregate of different male improvement, ostensibly, the male improvement influencers, right? You know, the manosphere, like Mike was talking about this the other day, a manosphere could be Richard Reeves, who would say he was never part of the, right? Dr. Richard Reeves would never want to be associated with the manosphere, but he's part of the manosphere, like it or not. Joe Rogan, I guess, you know, sort of ancillary. Yeah, you got so you got Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson would not say he's red pill, but he's definitely in the manosphere. So it just kind of depends on the take. But does the manosphere have a map? I could tell you that the red pill does not have a map. The manosphere is just an aggregate of sort of thinkers and doers and movers and shakers, right? Where the red pill itself is, in its purest, most idealistic form, is a praxeology. It's just a database from which you can take that information and then come up with your own best practices. So when people ask me about like the black pill or the MGTOW movement or the MRAs or the white pill or the God pill or trad pill or this pill or your mom pill or whatever the fuck it is, right? All that stuff, even PUAs, even mystery, that's best practice. They take what and help develop it, of course, but they take the database that is the red pill and then they turn it into a best practice. So PUA is a practice. And MGTOW was a practice. Black pill doomers, you're not I'm gonna just drop out of society and I'm gonna go monk mode. Well, that's a verb, man. So there is no map, and a map to where? Where do you want the map to go is the real question. What do you want it to do? Rollo, should a man date in his 20s? I'm 24. Yes, you should date in your 20s. Date in your 20s. do not go the monogamy route till much later, but date in your 20s. Yes, absolutely. Would gifting preventive medicine to my brother with a baby on the way be better than giving him the first book? No. You have to read the first book. You have to read The Rational Male, available on Amazon. That's the rule book. Everything else is sort of like the supplement to the rule book. Like if you play miniature war games like this nerd here, there's always the core rule book, and then there's like sort of the supplements that go along with that. Preventive medicine is a supplement to the Rational Male. In fact, all the other 5 that came in sequence after that, they're all supplements. They're all different topics that relate back to the original core rule book, which is the Rational Male. Although I would say this, have them read the first book and then read the preventative medicine, because preventive medicine is based on a timeline. And hell, I can even show you the timeline right here. It is this timeline right here. And the entire book is based on this timeline. It's essentially what you can expect, relatively speaking, from women and what they prioritize at various phases of their maturity, and how you can sort of basically, plan accordingly. That's what it's about. So that's actually why I wrote that. And let's see. So I got to that one, and here's the last one. I mailed Rollo for the book, but I didn't think he'd see it. I think he did not see it. Email me again. I'll send you the book. Which one do you want? People do that all the time. Like, Rollo. Oh, you want the logo? Okay, you want the logo? Okay, here, hold on a second. Damn it. You mean these guys? Right? There you go. No. That's if you click on that or you scan that QR code, it'll take you right to to my Reignite book, if that's what you're after. Is that what you want? Or did you want should we put that? There we go. I'm going to put that up there so you guys can scan that too. That'll take you to the Reignite stuff too. That's Reignite Alpha. Hold on. This is the book right there. There you go. Excellent. Okay. What else we got to do? We got to wrap up here today.
I dressed in my Miami dress.
Oh yeah. Miami,
yeah.
I need to get okay. So you're going to wear that and I'll wear the pink. Should I wear the pink? I'll wear the pink. I'll rock the pink when we're there. We'll be like Crockett and Tubbs.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay.
For sure.
So what do we got going on in Miami?
Yeah. So we got an event coming up May 15th, 16th, 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is for guys to come out to grow, to get to meet you, learn about your stuff up close and personal, hang out with you for 3 days, and then just have a good time. So we're going to be having classes at a cool place. We're going to talk to women in those classes, like live with the women, so that you get instant feedback from them. We're going to go to a great party called Babes in Toyland White Party, where there's going to be a bunch of beautiful women there. And prior to that, since we have an event to invite women to, we're going to go out and we're going to talk to women and invite them to this event. And we're going to get a boat on Sunday and invite women there also. And the classes will include talking to you for 3 or 4 hours a day, learning I'll do the class on how to break down your hometown socially. So when you go back home, you have a way to build your social network. We'll do the letting go process, the emotional development, so that when you talk to women, you feel better and you don't get out. One big thing we talk about a lot is being non-reactive to situations, especially with women. And then, like I said, we're going to be actually having conversations with women, but in a controlled environment. And the biggest thing is,
and how does that work? How does the conversations with women in a controlled environment work?
Yeah, so we hire models to come out and they just talk to you, and then I have scenarios for you to interact with her. So one might be, for example, where she acts a little cold, and you have to get her to a point where she feels comfortable enough that she wants to talk to you. So you can, and like in the moment, you can see her either staying distant or becoming more open to you and reacting positively to you. Mm-hmm. And the idea is just to get that instant feedback, which we never get when we're actually out talking to a woman, unless we can recognize it. And this is just the beginning of practice to do it. If you're good at talking to women, then you can take it as deep as you want with this woman, as far as like the conversation, and see where it goes. So you can practice your own things. A lot of things, Owen, I was listening to an Owen video yesterday about how guys just don't go out and practice. Mm-hmm. And that's what it boils down to, is just getting out and talking to more people and to more women. So you start to pick up on the subtle signs that they're giving off, that most guys don't have enough reps under the belt to even recognize what's happening. So there's the surface conversation, and then there's a whole interplay between the two of you underneath that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And this is a way to just to practice it in a very controlled environment. So the women are open, they're going to be nice, they're going to talk to you. There's no competition. If there's something you want to work on, then actually have that ready to go as part of your intention and work on it. And then the other thing is, we're going to go out at night and hang out. We're going to go to a cigar bar and do that. And it's just hanging out with the dudes and just palling around doing fun shit. So that's really why I put this on.
That's when the good conversations happen too. Cause like I, as you guys know, my marketing is anti-marketing. I would much rather have you guys go and have I realize this. Okay. I realize guys have to take PTO to do this. They have to like set aside some money. They have to set aside some time, like if they are working 9 to 5 or something like that. It's a vacation, man. I got to take my vacation time and go out to Miami and see these guys. Right. Yeah. Dude, I can 100% appreciate that, because I used to be me, right? So like if I was doing this, I would want to make sure that everything is like I'm enjoying myself and having the time of my effing life, right? And I have been to conferences, as you know, where it's just like 8 hours of nothing but lectures and PowerPoint presentations and dry erase markers and shit like that. And I'm just like, I want to go fish. I want to sit at a table and talk to guys like real freaking human beings, right? I think some of the best, like honestly, Joe, I think some of the best conversations we've had with our guys have been at like the table at I forget the name of the restaurant, at the Hyatt Centric, when we would go and have like food there. We're just like just shooting the breeze and talking about that. We were talking about the last Miami white party, right? And just sort of like our after action report. Our after action.
Steve came in freshly showered, right? Or not freshly showered.
Yeah, all it is just us sitting around just saying, "What happened to you? Tell me a story from last night. Tell me the story you created last night. What was the most memorable thing?" And man, people are like ready to go, and it's awesome because you can learn. Like if you learn by relating it, and then somebody else listening to it probably will be able to apply that sometime somewhere later on. And it's great because you just, it's a shared experience and you're like remembering it together. And sometimes you learn just from sitting there and talking and bullshitting, right? And again, we do stuff that's fun. The deep sea fishing trip is sold out, so you can't go. We have 6 guys, well 5 including myself, and then we go out. It's a full day trip, and it was probably the most popular thing we did last year. And so now we got it sold out pretty quick this year. That's a good sign. But we go out there. My good friend, Captain Nelson, who I have been going out fishing with for now 5 years. And Always a good time, always fun. And we're just sitting there in between, like hitting schools of fish. Like we'll troll around and then we'll get into a school of fish. We'll fish that for a little while and then we'll go troll on some more. But while we're trolling, we'll go back in the cabin and we'll just sit on the deck or something. Just I remember, just stories at that time. It's just fun, right? Mm-hmm. And then people will ask me questions about this or what about that. Like whenever I go to like a casino or I walk through a casino or I go to certainly when I go to the airport or something like that, I'm pretty much guaranteed somebody's going to recognize me and stop me. And the first thing they say, Rollo, now that I got you here, I'm having trouble with this, or my girlfriend said that, or do you think I should get married? Or like half of the questions I field in the chats, right? Somebody will come up to me and hit me up like that. And I'm there and I'm it's relating it to them one-on-one. And I realize that's something that's a dynamic that I think needs to be brought into the group, right? So whenever somebody like meets me for the first time at like a Babes in Toyland or something, I shake their hand. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Hey, you saved my life. Hey, great. How did you find me? Like, how did you just got, because I don't advertise. So you have to, it's word of mouth. Somebody had to tell you, or you had to figure it out on your own. So I'm always curious about that, but that always leads to another story. And you know what the story is? How do I get my girlfriend back? Oh, I remember when I was here. I was in a pretty dark place when I read your book and all that. And those are the conversations that I want to inspire when we're getting together and doing stuff. But that happens when we're doing, and that's my operating principle in all of this is that we still have classroom settings. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to teach you how to use Face app, so you can make your Instagram pictures look way much better. And then why Instagram is a game changer. Why it's a force multiplier, because most guys coming out of America don't even understand why. What's this Facebook? I don't know this. We help you with that. We help you with real conversations. We put you into practice situations, and then the best part of the whole thing is we tend to center our events around Babes in Toyland or some kind of charity event or some place where there's going to be a high concentration of very, very beautiful women. So you can go try out here you go. I know you live in Paducah, Kentucky, but here you go in Miami. I know you live in Portland, Maine, but here you go. Like, you don't have any other time, and maybe you don't have access. I mean, you're like, I have so many guys that will come up to me, like me and Mystery got into this about women are more important than money. Boy, did people lose their shit over that one, man. And the point was, how important is it to you to find a girlfriend, to find a wife, to go out and meet women, right? Well, Rollo, I live in, Hackensack, or that's how I go. Paducah, Kentucky. I live in Billings, Montana. I live whatever, and we don't have clubs. We don't have that. The girls here are pretty slim pickings, man. There's no women here. Blah blah blah. Move. Go somewhere else. Like, how many times have we fielded that question with our guys, Joe? Like, we got a guy that's in Seattle, Washington right now, and he's like, I want to change my life. I want to go where there's some good looking chicks, and I'm like, come to Vegas, man. Well, let's go. And we're like, move to Vegas if you want to move, if you want to be around that. You want to fish where the fish are, right? But the thing is like, you still have to take that action and do those things. So what we try to do is we try to facilitate that happening by coordinating our events around things like Babes in Toyland. So that's why we do that. We also have another, if you can't make Miami, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, I don't know about Miami, but we also have another one coming up in August, and that is our swim week meetup, which is at another Babes in Toyland. I'm going to say it's at Sahara, right? And that'll be fun because that's our stomping ground. So we know everyone here. So I don't know maybe we'll go to the shooting range again. Maybe we'll go do the quads if it's not too hot. And didn't you want to do like the fighter jet thing? You want to go do the simulator?
But yes,
I want to go do that. I want to drive the tank. We need to drive the tank at some point. I got to do everything. I need a reason to go do all the touristy shit in Vegas because I live here. But yeah, so we do fun stuff, man. And I think that's really the strength of it, because guys tend to communicate better when they have shared interests, or they're doing shared interests, or they have a collective project or a problem to solve, a frontier to explore, or whatever it is, like fishing. Hey, we're going to go out and get some fish today. Yeah. And so, but between you going out to get the fish and coming back in with the fish, a lot of shit happens in that 8-10 hour stretch. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to get into rather than sitting in front of a whiteboard all the time. So that's my therapy. That's the way I work. But that's not to say that we don't just sit around and I'll do Q&A. I'll individualize, programs. And again, the other thing I need to stress here is that, like, if people want to come to me and say, Rollo, what's your stack? What are you lifting in the gym or stuff like that? If they have a fitness question or something like that, I might not be the best person to ask about that, but I know somebody who is. If somebody says, Rollo, I'm going through this really tough divorce. I've never been divorced, but I know Jim Sexton, who has been a guest speaker and on our Zoom calls and Reignite. So those are the kinds of guests that I get for our group. So if you want to talk to Mystery, I could probably get Mystery. If you want to talk to Jim Sexton, I can get Jim Sexton. We've had Drew Bay. We've had George Bruno. We've had Aaron Clary. Anybody that I am familiar with, more than likely, I can probably get him to come on for an hour to talk to you guys on the Zoom call. So I think that's one of the greatest strengths of Reignite is you have access to my network, Joe's network, Michael Sartain's network, everybody else. And so if there's a problem you have and you're trying to become a new person, you're trying to become somebody different, and you're like, well, I have to get my business in line and I got to stop being a fat ass. Guess what? One of us knows how to do that. One of us knows somebody who's the best dude in the industry to help you out with that. So I think that's one of the core strengths of our group.
Yep. So if you guys are interested in meeting us in Miami, you can send me a DM on Instagram.
And there's only 12 spots left, or 10? 10 or 12? 10
spots, yeah.
10 spots left. And what is the price right now? Because everybody's going to go, I didn't know how much it costs. I'll tell you straight out.
Yeah, it's basically $4,500 full price, but through April, if you guys get in earlier, we're having it at $2,497, so $2,500.
Yeah, $2,497. I'm looking at it.
So basically half price right now.
And we're down to 10 spots left. So, so get it now.
So hit me up at Reignite Alpha or Reignite Alpha on Instagram. And just send a DM and I'll get back to you and we'll have a conversation about it. Yeah.
And so this link up here, hold on a second. Let me give you the Reignite Alpha link up there really quickly. That's it right there. Okay. So if you want to go to Reignite Alpha right there, you get all the information at that. Let's see if I can. You can get that QR code that will take you there. So there you go. Anything else we need to cover? I mean, I don't have any more questions. I don't have any more. What's that?
There's one more question.
Go ahead.
I think it's from Justin.
I have one here that says, Rollo, have you not been banned? How have you not been banned? I have been banned. How have you not avoided being banned when you are one of the only ones left in the original Red Pill era? Guess what? Try searching me on YouTube and see how hard it is. Shadow banned. Sorry, what was it? Was there one?
This question is, Rollo, can a relationship ever work if me and her teenage son don't get along at all?
What are you trying? I think maybe it's better to think of what the end goal is. And then what is the point of contention between you and the 13-year-old guy or the 13-year-old boy?
Yeah, it just says teenage son.
Teenager? Is that what it said? 13, or did you give me an age?
Teenager,
yeah. Said age. Okay. Well, I mean, teenagers are going to be pricks anyways, right? So why is it why? First of all, what's the point of contention? Why is it difficult to relate to the teenage kid? Second of all, why are you with the single mother? And third of all, let's fast forward and try to see things from a God's eye view. Let's see the forest for the trees. Where do you see it going? Like, are you wasting your effort? Is what I should say. It's the same thing like when guys hit me up and say, like, well, I'm in a sexless marriage. How do I make it come back? Like, well, the thing that gets me is like a lot of guys, it's called is it strategic thinking or strategic plan? I pulled there's a quote that's in Robert Greene's 33 Strategies of War. And it's basically seeing the whole battle. Like winning a battle is one thing, winning the war is another thing, kind of thing. I want to say it's like strategic thinking or something, but it is, Jesus Christ, do I have to kill this guy out of here? Okay. But it's basically seeing, like, thinking long-term, like where are your efforts better spent? Same thing when guys like they'll hit me up and they'll say, well, Rollo, how do I get my wife to have sex with me? Okay, well, I can tell you that, and I can show you, give you some sort of like workable plan to, here, try that, go to the gym, do this. Yeah, I usually start out with like a breakup with her in your mind. And then once you get to a point, 6-8 months down the line, and you have improved yourself, money, muscles, and game, and you become like anytime somebody says I'm in a sexless marriage, the first thing anybody criticizes is, well, is he a guy that she wants to fuck in the first place? Is he a guy did he let himself go? Did he do this? Like, they always want to question the quality of the dude first, which maybe they should. But once that is taken care of, once that's like, you go, well, he makes, $300,000 a year. He's in great shape. He's, fitness competitor. He's a great dude, takes care of his kids, does everything. And she still doesn't want to fuck him. Well, the thing is like, you get to a certain point and it's like, you've changed yourself over the course of 6 or 8 months. You become somebody new. And the next question is this: if you were single, knowing what you know now and knowing about your wife and everything, would you want to date her? I'll tell you, 90% of the time, the guys are like, probably not. If I met her in a club or something like that, I probably wouldn't. I said, well, so if you can face that question before you make all this effort, I'm not saying you shouldn't. You should make that effort. But the thing is like, it's the same thing with the kid, right? Like, think ahead. Do I really want to make this effort? Am I going to be with this person forever? Am I planning on marrying her and be this kid's stepfather? Because if that's the case, then, and I don't suggest you do, but like, if that's the case, then you need to start thinking in those terms rather than like, am I wasting my time? All right. Is that it? Everything else? Yes, you're correct. I have been at 224,000 subs for 8 to 10 years. No, this channel hasn't been around for 8 to 10 years. No, I got shadow banned a long time ago. I was on the NGO watch list, and for whatever reason, I can't lose or gain subscriptions right now for whatever reason. It'd be one thing if I saw my subs like just fall off a cliff, and now I'm back at 200,000. At least then I would know that there's like some sort of like realistic movement, but it's not. I am like locked at my present rate of subs right now for whatever reason. And Aaron Clary, also part of that NGO block list, he is also locked at his sub level right now too. So I think something still is going on. The only thing I can do is start a new channel, and I ain't gonna do that. So, but anyways, this has been fun. This is a good show, man.
Yeah, thanks, Rollo.
Yeah, we should do this more often. I know Mike wants to start doing like 1-on-1s or 2-on-2s or whatever it is pretty soon too, like on our off weeks for Access Vegas. So maybe we'll pick that up in the summertime. Once I am healed and I'm good to go, my health conditions are pretty good. I'm improving every day. So I should be. I was thinking, man, I hope I don't have to do like bandage changes or anything when I'm in Miami, but I think I'll be free and clear by then. So it should be good. But anyway. All right, man. Any parting shots? All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. And let's see. Where am I? Oh, I'm going to be on. Whose podcast am I going to be on? Got a show. Oh, wait. Thursdays. Thursdays is when we do our Zoom calls for Reignite. So if you're part of the Reignite group, we do a weekly call, and that's where like sometimes I'll have guest speakers and stuff like that come on. I'm working on Christian Baum. I think I'm going to from Jackson Maximus. I'm going to have him come on and help us out with like style counseling and stuff like that on Thursday. But that's another cool thing you get with Reignite is a weekly Zoom call. So if we just basically all we do is check in, but if you have a question or if there's something that's, if you're going through something, or if there's, something you've always wanted to ask me and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can pay your like hourly, fine, join a group. You can do this. You can ask me anytime on any Thursday. It's 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time is when we do it. And then Joe does another one on Mondays, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mondays. Okay.
5 p.m.
Yeah.
Right.
So we always have, and then we have a school group. Obviously, everybody has a school group. And then the other thing is the guys in the group themselves take it upon themselves, take the initiative to like help each other out. We have forged a lot of friendships as a result of this. And I want to say even one business arrangement, if memory serves. Mm-hmm. But anyways, that's the workup for Reignite. And I think you guys should join.
Well, and then we do one-on-one calls too.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, and you
We
got
have a game plan for where you want to go, and then we help you and hold you accountable to get you there.
Yeah, and that's part of the membership. So yeah, so whatever. So one-on-one calls. You got the Zoom calls twice. Well, me once a week, him once a week. You got the Miami event meetups. We kind of focus on events, right? And that's the fun part. That's where everybody gets together and the real work starts. So, check it out, man. Like I said, if you can't get to Miami, you can always go to the one that's in August. We got 10 spots left for the Miami event. And then we'll let you know when August rolls around or when we're going to do the August one. And then we're thinking about doing the October one too. Because that was like unexpected. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do it. So
that was fun. That was a blast, actually.
Yeah. And we'll have other like smaller events in between. Those are just our 2 big ones. So anyways, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you guys next week. Thanks, Joe, for joining us. I'll see you guys.